The live streams are the reason for all of this shit. But what's really crazy is apparently what was not caught on the live stream. What up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Phil Risen, and we are here today because it is an incredible day. Mr. Chud the Builder down in Tennessee is cooked. He's done. And I am not talking about regular cooked. This is not Easy Mac, okay? This isn't ramen noodles. We are talking pan-seared, well done, chives, Wagyu. My boy is done, okay? Now, if you guys don't know Chud the Builder, I feel like you probably have been living under a rock, or maybe I just need to touch grass because I've been seeing this man everywhere for months now. He's the dude from Tennessee, live streamer, basically making a living off of calling people the N-word. And of course, we know that he ended up discharging his weapon outside of a courthouse when he had just gotten out of some sort of court hearing for another offense that he had already had. And I'll be honest, this is a dude that I don't feel bad for. I don't like at all, but it is crazy to watch how insanely guilty this guy is. I've never seen something like this before. You know, they had him in a court hearing today, and of course, like they had already done before, they were reading tweets that he's had, and it was just insane. They also had another detective, I believe, who was there to corroborate the charges that he's been given, along with these tweets. And of course, they have now started airing a lot of these live streams. The live streams are the reason for all of this shit. But what's really crazy is apparently what was not caught on the live stream.
Controversial online streamer known as Chud the Builder is making an appearance in a Nashville courtroom. Dalton Eatherly faces 3 misdemeanor charges stemming from a May incident at Bob's Steak and Chop House inside the Omni Hotel. Investigators say Eatherly live streamed inside the restaurant after staff asked him not to, then refused to pay. Eatherly also faces separate felony charges in Montgomery County for a shooting investigation. During Eatherly's court appearance, one investigator on the stand recalled the shooting.
Shots were shown being fired prior to them hitting the ground.
Shots are being shown to have been fired prior to that?
Yes.
And how do we know that?
I can see, or in the courthouse video, it shows the casing ejecting from the firearm. It also shows the ricochet off the concrete planter.
Okay.
Prior to them hitting the ground.
He was the first one to start the entire altercation. I'll be honest, this changes everything. Of course, I already knew he was guilty, but now I know he's both guilty and just as stupid as I thought he was. Because this dude has been acting like he was innocent this entire time. And as we have all been saying, everything that he has ever done is recorded on camera and live streamed to thousands of people. Everything he's ever done only corroborates the charges that he's been given. Yet he still sits around and acts like this is just a freedom of speech issue. It's honestly insane. He knew there were witnesses around, but yet still went out and acted as if he was wrongly and falsely accused. You know, and I really think that they are truly going to throw the book at this guy. You know, for everything I say about America and how racist it is, which it very, very much is, they are definitely making an example out of this man. And I think it's because America nowadays, they're not into grotesque forces of racism that the people used to be into, like in the 1930s and the 1940s, where you could just roam around in a truck and do all sorts of crazy stuff. You know what I mean? Now, I think they've realized how they've co-opted the internet. And even though they are doing things that are very, very fascist and very, very racist, better to do it on a strictly societal, economic, systemic way, and then gaslight everybody instead of running around in little groups just causing trouble and causing mischief. You know, I feel like when it comes to the MAGA group of people and just conservatives in general, I think they look at that past as like that's the only version of racism that actually exists. You know, and they know that it's not true, but that's what they really like to push on people. And so it's like, oh, it's not racism if it's ICE grabbing people. You know what I mean? It's not racism if I call the cops, they come and they shoot you. But it is racism if one of us actually gets our hands dirty and does this stuff. You know, and I think they don't like Chud the Builder because with him being out there doing this blatant racism, it means that the jig is up, and it gets a lot harder from people to divorce what they do from what he does. So they're really throwing the book on this guy. And I really think it's crazy, though, that he has now been exposed for discharging his weapon before he got attacked. Because as we all know, he's been banking off of this entire fucking self-defense thing for a very, very long time. The whole entire point of his existence has been self-defense. And now he's just been exposed as an attacker, which is crazy. And I gotta say, the best thing about this Chud the Builder thing, aside from him facing real charges and possibly getting real severe jail time for this whole situation, is the fact that this is gonna have the red pill community in shambles, in utter shambles. I think we need to talk about this because I've made a couple videos about how the red pill community and all that stuff seems to be crumbling or going through some sort of metamorphosis, whether it's from, Nick Fuentes, or the fact that Fresh and Fit and stuff just doesn't seem to be as popular anymore, right? You have people like Theo Vaughn. They're pulling away from their old Rogan sphere type stuff. There's a lot of people kind of shifting from where they used to be, which was a lot more conservative. And this whole thing is kind of the straw that breaks the camel's back. Myron Gaines and Sneeko have been on this guy's side forever, advocating for him. And of course, they're just grifters. Who knows what they actually believe? But the fact that now the crux of their argument of self-defense has been completely dismantled, I think this is actually really, really going to harm their fan bases. I think this is really going to hurt them because I feel like, first off, with Myron, a lot of people have been fading away from him. They're kind of fed up with the guy. They know he's a total grifter. Even white supremacists are done with him. He did some sort of video or whatever, right? That was him with a white supremacist arguing with them at a college campus or something like that, which is absolutely nuts. And they were obviously like just done with the dude in the first place. So I think a lot of people are sick with these people. And not to mention, Sneeko even had his own situation where he is now kind of turned on the red pill community fully. He originally kind of did as well too, but then shifted over to I'm against Zionists and kind of went full white supremacist. Now it seems like he's even stepping away from that because he's had videos of him shitting on white people and talking about how, like, white on white violence is like, wars and all of that type of stuff. So there's obviously some sort of big shift happening here. And I really think it's interesting that it's happening now and that Chud the Builder seems to be such a big part of it. And we're going to go through this right now to talk about this shit. So let's see. It says, Davidson County Judge Melissa Blackburn revoked bond for Dalton Eatherly. So yes, they decided now that he can no longer have bond whatsoever. And you remember he was originally given a bond that was supposed to be $1.25 million. But then they decided just $1 million. Now they're saying his bond is gone completely. So they're saying, based on what I've seen on social media and Mr. Eatherly's behavior, Blackburn said of her decision to revoke. Eatherly was on bond when he was arrested in Clarksville. A condition of his bond in Nashville was that he not be charged with any more crimes. So I believe when they say he was arrested in Clarksville, Clarksville was where he did the shooting originally. And he had been leaving some sort of court hearing there when that happened. And one of the conditions of him leaving the court hearing or his bond hearing at that time was for him not to get arrested again. And then he stepped outside, used the N-word a bunch, fired his weapon at somebody and immediately went right back into jail. So this dude has had a lot of issues. I actually think the reason he was first going to that courthouse was for his incident that he had like 2 weeks before then, when he was live streaming in a restaurant, apparently. And they told him he couldn't do that. They knew who he was. They didn't tell him he couldn't leave. They just told him, they didn't tell him he had to leave. They just told him, hey, you have to stop live streaming in here. and he was drunk with power, didn't think he had to, and then decided not to pay his bill, which got him in trouble.
Hey, Pajit, calm down. Why don't you go shit in the street? Why don't you go poop in the street? Hey, man, don't get aggressive with me. We'll get up and leave. Thanks for the free food. Hey, Bob's Steakhouse.
They'll take care of it.
Oh, no, we're not paying shit.
So this dude is just an all-around asshole. It's one thing to be racist, but I feel like other people who are racist probably can't even defend you when you're running around and disturbing businesses as well too. Because if there's one thing racists like, it's white people making money. I'll tell you that much. So the hearing June 17th was originally scheduled as a preliminary hearing. Instead, Assistant District Attorney Jeff Walker mentioned to revoke his bond. Meanwhile, Eatherly's attorney Jacob Fenley filed a motion to dismiss the charges. Blackburn only heard the motion to revoke his bond. So basically, his attorney was like, yo, these are trumped up charges. Please just dismiss it. This is something that, pretty much any good attorney does, even when their person is pretty guilty. You never know because, attorneys and judges, you can really pull some strings if you know the right people. People don't know that law it's knowledge, but it's also like 90% connections, right? That's why the big lawyer is the big lawyer, because the big lawyer plays golf with the big judge, and he can work out some better plea deals than the other guy. And he's also smart, so it all works in tandem with each other. But Chud's fucked. So here's some pics of him running out of here. Just get that out of here. Look at this man. This is a man that I think deep down just knows he's not getting out of here. And this is a guy who knows for sure this guy is not getting out of here. And he's like, I just hope my check clears. And this guy is someone who heard 1.2 mil and raised a couple eyebrows. Yeah, man. Absolute insanity, man. This guy. Apparently, Walker called Montgomery County Sheriff's Office Detective Michael Weber to the stand. Weber testified about the charges Eatherly faces in Clarksville, the basis of the revocation motion. Several of Eatherly's social media posts, which are often racially charged, were displayed on a TV screen for those in the courtroom to see. That's probably also what the raised eyebrow was about, because this dude, if there's one thing about Chud, he liked to talk spicy. Chud loved to talk spicy, man, for real. So, he whatever, like, normal way some dude who's racist might get out of something, Chud the Builder is not going to be able to do those things, because all of these things are so well documented. And not only that, he did them for money, and he was quite popular while doing it. So even if somebody's trying to claim, or even if he's trying to claim self-defense, the person who attacked him, even though, we know now that he attacked the person first, but let's just say everything went down the way Chud said that it went down. Even then, the person who attacked him in that circumstance might be able to claim self-defense against Chud, because he knows of Chud the Builder as someone who threatens violence against people, which makes him scared and caused him to react in an aggressive way. You see what I mean? The same thing that he's using to protect himself, the person that he says attacked him could use against him because of his reckless attitude. Honestly, it's really fucking, it's just out of his mind. It's truly messed up, man. Truly messed up. Apparently, Walker played 2 videos from Eatherly's social media accounts recorded before his arrest, where he says it's only proper escalation. It's inevitable, he said in one video. Of course, by inevitable, he means, shooting a black person, essentially. So it says, Eatherly said in the video, talking about how he thought he'd end up shooting a black person. This is an exact quote from the press right now. And another quote from him is, just imagine the headline, Chud the Builder kills a black man. It's almost like it's going to happen. When you're a guy who talks this brazenly, I think no amount of First Amendment can really help you out, because you're going so deep that people know it's not just words. There's no way someone like can hear this and not think it's a threat. I can't imagine if I was on the bus or something and I'm hearing a guy openly say this stuff while he's sitting right next to me, that I wouldn't feel threatened. Are you kidding me? Of course I would feel threatened. This guy is talking about taking people's lives, and I fit the description of the person he's talking about whose life he wants to take. This dude, he's out of his mind. Several days later, he was charged with attempted murder after a black man was shot 5 times. Yeah, yeah, and this doesn't surprise me because I also think too, it's like play stupid games, win stupid prizes. He had been hyping himself up for that long. I think it was less that he was even doing it for the money or free speech. He just wanted to, man. He just wanted to. And I think he got so hyped off of his own clout from doing these things and making money. Because you got to realize, dude was just walking around Memphis calling black people the N-word and making thousands of dollars. This is after he had initially been called out for being racist before and lost his job and apparently wasn't able to provide for himself. We don't know how true that is, but it could be very, very well true. So, of course, when he goes from a situation like that to a situation like this, he's feeling himself and he thinks he could do no wrong. So eventually, yeah, he's coming out of a court case, feeling like P. Diddy when he got out of his first case in the 2000s and changed his name, feeling like he's untouchable, feeling like he's fresh, like he can do whatever he wants to do, right? And then immediately some dude starts talking to him and he's feeling himself, and the rest is history. Well, unfortunately, he has now been humbled, and I think the state of Tennessee is going to have their way with this man. But let me know what you guys think, man. This is a crazy, crazy story. I never thought somebody would be this brazen and idiotic and also be able to make so much money doing it. But, that's America. Do you think he's going to have the book thrown at him, or do you think, he'll be actually able to, get away with this stuff? Because I really think he's done. As racist as America is, as crazy as things are, I still think he's done. He represents an ugly part of America that I feel like a lot of white people in the U.S. don't want to admit fully exists. And if they let him skip on by, then that opens the floodgates to really be called out on their bullshit. But hey, that's just me. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'll talk to you later. Make sure to like, share, subscribe. I'll see you. Peace.